As our interview continued, Chris Dancy said more people should infuse smart products into their lives. But he also cautions when to share personal information, saying he felt empowered but scared by the looming future of connected humans that, for instance, cannot handle Facebook, much less a relationship with their life data. Here now is part 2 of our interview with Dancy, who claims to be the most connected man on the planet. Chris, with respect, I mean, has this changed your life, or is this simply a great stunt that you're performing?
Goodness, it's a 5-year stunt, so let's hope that it's a good one. Well, it's profoundly changed my relationship with myself, my body. As you can tell, I sit a little bit better.
Well, I mean,
I'm much thinner.
I am impressed, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can imagine what you looked like when you were much heavier. Is it,
it's probably, yeah, so this is me 18 months ago.
You've got to be kidding.
No.
Jeez, all right. So, and that is astonishing.
Thank you.
That is a manifestation of the benefits of technology.
Data-assisted living.
Yeah.
Eat now, don't eat now. Sleep now, don't sleep now.
And do you see this as something in perpetuity? I mean, has this bettered your life to the point where you have now become dependent on these devices?
I'm not dependent, but I definitely don't use them in the same way. I used to spend a lot of time...
Did you become obsessed?
I would say I was slightly obsessed with measuring information, but I was more obsessed with analyzing it because I wanted to be able to make sure that I wasn't wrong. So I spent a lot of time proving I was wrong. Oh no, that's the dogs don't have a worse day because of the way you're driving. It's because of something else. And then
tell me about your dogs, because they're also
also censored. Yeah. So Rocco had a little weight problem, so we used the same routine.
What sort of breed is Rocco?
Rocco's a cattle dog.
Yeah,
he's a great little dog.
Bit of a weight problem, like his dad.
Like his dad, he was about 70 pounds. He needed to be about 65. So basically, I took some of my data routines with music and lighting and applied them to the house to see if I could get Rocco more active without actually having to walk him.
Yeah.
And we got 5 pounds off of Rocco.
Okay.
So Rocco.
How does that work?
So Rocco likes to sleep in the middle of the day, and he likes to sleep in one specific area. Yeah. So what I did was I put a motion sensor near the sofa where he likes to sleep, and every day when he would jump up there, the motion sensor would then trigger on the lights. If he stayed there too long, he was too still because he wears a sensor on his neck, it actually would then turn on music, and then Rocco hates 80s rock. Okay. And Rocco would get up and move. So just 2 weeks of doing that, and then Rocco started getting into a routine where he'd lost some weight. So.
What particular part of 80s rock doesn't Rocco like?
I think it's Bon Jovi. I'm not really sure. Something about living on a prayer, Rocco just does not. He doesn't do well with Bon Jovi.
You've collected an enormous amount of data.
Between 30 and 60 terabytes.
Yeah. If a marketer of consumer products had access to this data, how valuable would it be for them?
It changes everything.
Explain that to me.
Well, right now, marketers, they really thrive on our attention and our habits. And they have our habits through things like club cards, frequent buyer cards. They have our habits through, now through newer systems like proximity sensors, like iBeacons. Through social media, they have a lot of our habits and a lot of our problems and complaints and happiness. But that's all what I call soft data. It's very, very, you can manipulate that data as a consumer and create a smokescreen of sorts. Where we're moving to with hard data, how you feel, how you respond to products, what products have your attention.
Okay, give me an example. You're holding a bottle of Evian water, for instance.
Exactly.
Okay. So what would your technology be doing in relation to that bottle? And if you were the marketing director of Evian, how could you be using that? Or any other product for that matter?
Well, let's just talk about this right now. So there's a certain amount of muscle pressure that's actually being exuded to actually pick up the bottle. Yeah. Well, that's directly in relationship to how much water is left. Also, how cold is the water now? It's sat for so long, right? So am I drinking it faster or slower, depending on how cold it is? When I'm picking it up, am I making an evaluation? You'll notice sometimes you pick up a bottle of water and you don't actually drink from it. Because you're making a subtle data judgment. Is there enough water in it based on how much time I'm going to be left in this meeting?
Do I really need it? Is it just is it there as a social accoutrement?
Or do you want to make it last? You want to make it, a lot of times, there's a lot of, remember, I know a lot about information now. Yeah. So a lot of times what I found was I would just, I've got another 15 minutes with you, I have to make this last. The other thing is, where's my gaze, right? So something like Google Glass has a sensor right here that watches your eye movement. So what am I looking at in the water, right?
Or what specific part of the branding on the bottle that you're engaging with?
Am I looking at, right? Do I spend time looking at this? Am I even looking at their silly pictures on the back? No, I'm not. But again, if I were Evian, I would really want them to make a disposable smart bottle. There's a cup that just got announced last week called Vessel. And whatever you pour into it, it shows you on the side, this is beer, this is water, this is milk, this is... That cup's going to change everything. There's all these companies that think they have, and then the U.S. Supreme Court passed a law last week saying that you can sue makers that say there's so much juice in it if they're lying. So once you have things that tell you exactly what's in them, it changes not only your relationship to them, but the trust level. Then how you market around once you lose trust is a whole other thing. But if I were Evian, I'd really be thinking about, is there some way I can get people how much Evian they're drinking, how often they're drinking in it? Can I personalize the Evian experience using this hard data? For example, right now there's no smart bottle, so we'd have to have an application that understood I was drinking Evian. So something as simple as the phone sat there, I put that on it, it registers the temperature, it's got a code on the bottom, and it knows it's Evian. So that's how it would know that I drank a bottle. And I want to have 8 of these a day. That's really easy to do. Why isn't Evian doing that? If Evian had an app, I would only drink Evian water. Because I want to know how much water I'm drinking a day. It's hard to track it manually.
Chris, let me suggest this to you, though, that so often I talk to marketers back home and also here in Cannes, and they say this data is great, but all too often they are simply overwhelmed by the volume, and they simply don't know what to do with it. And they've got to get over the fear, I suppose.
I think they got to get over the fear, but if you and I go back to the 90s, we both were young kids in the 90s, right? What did we do at work in the 90s? We thought. We sat around without our computers, we talked and we thought.
And engaged, and conversed.
We conversed. We were contemplative. What would we do? How would we solve this problem? And I think whenever I hear people say there's too much information, what I hear them saying is, I don't want to think about it. Because to think about it, you'd actually have to propose a solution. Well, wait, propose a solution. Oh, I might not be right. We're afraid to fail. We don't have a problem with too much information. We have a problem with not enough leadership. Right? It's easy to stay safe and create these viral campaigns. Look what happened last night. For 15 minutes we had this happen. Look how successful we are. No one remembers that. And if you think that you're going to have a job in 6 years because you were able to pull off some stunt, you're wrong. People want relationships with products. That relationship comes from the information that's created between the exchange of you and that product and that consumption. No one's doing that well.
Chris Dancy, thank you.
Thank you.
And that's a scary look at our data future. Or will this be commonplace in a few years from now? You can debate the issue on our Facebook page, and here's the address. And that's this week's show. Goodbye as always, and thank you for watching.
News that moves. ENCA.com.